Hey, I'm Sky, and in this video I want to get into sensing energy. I know a lot of people are very serious about taking their spiritual path serious, and some people, like, you might be sensing things. You might have you're gifted in just sensing things. You sense energies, you might sense entities, you might sense, you just have that active sensing energy, and there's all different types of things you could be sensing. And in this video, I just kind of want to give some further deep insight on just as many areas of sensing and just kind of bring awareness, training, just knowledge and wisdom, whatever I can provide to you that will help you out on your journey. So let's get it. When it comes to sensing energies around you, you probably have like a part of your gifts like activated. There's something in your energetic field or something in you soul-wise that you're connected to enough that gives you that information that you're picking up things in your surroundings. But at the same time, it is natural, but some tend to feel it more than others, especially those who kind of grew up or some way into their connection. So when it comes to sensing energies, there's a lot of different types of ways or like different things you could be sensing. And what it really comes down to is like discernment. Discerning to understand what is it that you're sensing. And there's different types. You could be sensing energy. You could be sensing like entities. You could be sensing energy off of other people's intentions or emotions. There's a lot of things that we could be picking up on. And there's different areas of kind of focus that we could tune in on. We might kind of be better in some areas than others, or some areas might be more natural than others. And I want to get into all this stuff. But in having the ability of sensing, like perceiving things energetically on a spiritual plane, like I said, it can either happen naturally, or it can either happen naturally, or it can also happen from progression and like training. There are people who don't sense things at all spiritually, or there are people who are very spiritual but don't sense things and on certain levels than someone who's more in tuned. Sometimes there's just a person who's just completely natural at it, never trained at it, and they just sense all sorts of things. And I can't say I have the answers to why all that happens, but I can give some guidance to those who are in acknowledgement of sensing energies, and we can just kind of go from there. I think sensing energies is like a very important gift. It allows you to get information of things that you don't see. Now, there's many different types of ways that this happens. And it's a different experience for every person, because every person is going to have sort of a different cue of how they sense things, or how they know within themselves that it's a sign that you're picking up on something spiritually in some sort of way. And it might be different for the type of energies it might be. And I want to explain what this cue thing means. And what I'm saying is that, for me, for example, when I sense an energy, like a being, for example, if I sense like an entity kind of energy come close to me in any way, I sense it in different ways depending on its intentions. So let's say I'm like walking by a graveyard, for example, and there's like lost souls there, and a lost soul might be standing near me, or my energy might attract the lost soul to come near me. I will typically sense it from the back. Like my back will give me the sensation, but it'll give me the sensation with intentions of like something else. And usually the intentions, it's like something that's just kind of an energy embodiment of something mixed, something like lost, like lower energy, meaning it's more like just not like happy and excited or anything like that, just very mundane energy, and just like you just kind of feel it, just like a certain feeling that when you experience it enough, you kind of like start recognizing patterns. And I've noticed that I would feel it on my back sometimes, or depending on what it is, I'll feel it in different ways with different intentions from my back, depending on the intentions of whatever the entity is. I don't know. It could be things I haven't even seen, but like it's usually like a sign that like I'm sensing something. But some times, depending on if it's like something really negative and dark, I could feel it from in my head. I get a feeling in my head, like I get a cue in my head that tells me with a certain type of sensation and intention. It's like, okay, this is something very particular at this level. Or sometimes I feel it on a chest. And it's like, it tells me, okay, I'm sensing this type of being in existence focused on me or trying to get close to me with this type of intent. And it's just different, I guess, for different experiences. And we're just talking like entities specifically. Then there's like energies. There's like picking up on energies from like walking into a city bus, for example, and just the energies of different people or the energy of the bus and the environment is a certain way that, you could be sensing that, feeling that. It could be like people that you're talking to. You can have a conversation with a person and you can start feeling their emotions of different things and it can affect you in different ways. There's all sorts of ways of sensing energy, and it's interesting. But it just wanted to bring some awareness that we feel it in our body in different ways. That's basically what I'm focused on. Just different types of energies we sense and different experiences and different like situations. We'll feel them. We'll feel things different places around our body that have a very particular sensation. And in those sensations, there's a very particular type of intention altogether from it. So it helps give us information and insight on like what's going on. Now, this is obviously my experience. Might be different for you. I've met someone who, in the past, I knew that when they felt things spiritually around them, they'll get a very particular feeling in their temples. Very, very specific feeling that made them, that was their cue to tell them that something is around, something is close, something is communicating. But sometimes the cue that you might have might not just be aligned with sensing things. Sometimes it might be aligned with kind of a discernment in some ways, where you might sense and feel like you might be having a conversation and there might be like a synchronicity in the conversation of what you're talking about, something coming to light of like, oh, wow, that's the same thing. And you might get this feeling in your cue, wherever your cue is. You might feel it on your chest. You might feel it in your hands and your palms. You might feel like a sensation that goes over your body. It might be over your whole body. It might be in your head, your forehead. Everyone has their own very specific cues that kind of give you some indication of some level of spiritual sensing or discernment or validation. It's going to be in that kind of realm within your experience spiritually. And all I'm saying is that you definitely want to identify these things. That's like the first step that I would start off with when it comes to sensing, because the more you start focusing on building your awareness on sensing different things, the more you're going to start sensing things in different ways. Because what's going to happen is that you start developing more, like the more information that comes your way, because you're building that awareness, the more you're going to develop in just your energy body, helping you basically understand that information in different ways. Because if you keep getting it one way, the same way all the time, depending on your experience, that may or may not be difficult. But you might be able to actually discern that if that's your only way. Like, let's say you feel things from the chest all the time. You sense things from the chest all the time. Well, you might experience different type of sensations with every energy or entity that you sense in your spiritual experience. And you might be able to start discerning the differences of what is what. For some people, it might be different. They might be sensing different sensations in different areas of the body that tell them different information with different like levels of intent. And it may not even just be sensing. It might also be like types of discernment or validation or confirmations of information in some sort of ways. And that's something I want you to explore. Definitely explore this. Definitely keep this in mind, because it plays a big role with kind of building yourself in a direction moving forward. Because the more awareness you gain of these kind of things, the more you can start like noticing patterns and connections and drawing distinctions as to what your abilities are like set up within yourself. Like you might only feel emotional things in the chest, but you might feel like energies and different things from the head, But that's just something to be aware of. Be aware of how are things aligned within your body. Take note of this, write it down, keep track of it. Huge, really important. So when it comes to sensing energies around you, and I mean, you could just be just wherever you are, just in general, you could be sitting there and then just taking a moment to just kind of build the awareness of just spiritual sensation around your body, just around your immediate area. It's just something just to practice. You can kind of create a style of meditation in this direction that's specifically focused on sensing things in your surroundings. That's something that you can work on, just your immediate surroundings. And I'm not talking about the whole room. I'm just talking about your really direct, immediate surroundings. Just how is your personal space? How does it feel? And that's just something to be aware of. And the ways that we can kind of help determine how it feels is we can use just our memory of knowing, how were we feeling maybe an hour ago or early in the day? Do we notice changes in that personal space? Because that's kind of like our personal energetic field. Do we notice changes in that? And in those changes, what are we doing? Where are we? What's going on? How are we feeling? Just be aware of things like that. Just building that awareness helps develop yourself in those areas. Now, there's the energy of your room. And I'm talking about your personal room, where you rest, where you reside, the energy of your room. They're sensing the energies in it. Now, the thing for why this is important, the energy in your room is going to be it's your energy. It's completely your energy. And in that being your energy, you should be able to tell if something is not your energy. That's something to be aware of. Now, in telling that, you'll be able to sit down and just kind of connect, feel the energy of your room, connect to it completely. I'm coming from the perspective of doing some sort of exercise, so to say. If you're sitting on your bed or just standing in your room, just build the connection of it. Now, I also want you to recall, is there times where you felt something different in your room? Because when you're in your room filled with your own personal energy, that is also an extension of your own personal space. You should be able to sense something different, or you should build the awareness now that you would want to be very aware of all things that are within your energy, because in your room becomes your personal space, and your energy just naturally spreads out on your body, on your blankets, your pillows, your bed, the walls, the windows, the whole space. It just over time becomes only your energy. And in that, energetically, the room is in ownership. Your energy is in ownership of all things inside that space. So it just permanently kind of just resides there because you exist there, and your energy just gives off in there. In doing so, whatever you do in that room, whatever energy you emit is a part of that experience in that room energy. So if you go through a series of emotions in your room, for example, those emotions are there within that space. Whatever you experience energetically will reside within that space of yours. So just something to be aware of. And this is for everybody. Everyone, wherever your room, wherever you sleep, reside, and rest, it's the same for everybody. So if you go into someone else's room, you might feel their energy. So we'll get into that later. Now there's energy, being aware, sensing the energy for the entire home. Now, if you live with other people in the home, if you go in different rooms, you're going to sense just different feelings from other people's energies. You're going to pick up on that. And the energy of the home is going to have a very particular feeling overall. If you're in a house, the energy of the people in the house that live there, it all encompasses and just kind of mixes together, and just it plays a role in the energy of the entire home. Listen, I don't know how things are at your home, but if there's some dysfunction or toxicity in your family, there could be toxic energy there. There could be emotional energy there. If there's really good, hyper energetic energy, then it could be filled with that as well. It's a reflection of the collective in the home. Play a role with the energy in the entire home. This is something to be aware of. And you may be able to sense just different things in different rooms in the home and just in the overall space. And it's really interesting. Now, we can also, besides being indoors, we can also sense energies while we're outdoors. We can pick up on just different things. Like the example I gave earlier about the whole graveyard thing. It don't even have to be about that. It could just be us walking outside, and sometimes we could pick up on like blobs of energy. Who knows? It could just be something there energetically. And there's a reason why I say this, because energy is like germs. It's everywhere. There's just energy just everywhere. We don't see it as the way we see the way we conceive germs, as like you can't see the germ depending on what it is, but typically you don't see germs floating around. But we have this mindset of hygiene. We would, wash our hands, we take showers, we clean our clothes, we clean our house, we clean everything as possible to also, eliminate germs, keep things clean, to prevent us from getting sick. But energy is kind of the same way, where there could be just a bunch of just energy floating around everywhere. We could just be walking into it, not even aware of. We can be going into places that have dirty energy. I talked about like toxic energy in the home. Well, that could affect us as well. So it's good to have like an energy hygiene approach as well. But I'm bringing this up just so you probably sense this stuff, and we could be sensing things when we're outside walking around. We could be sensing energies floating around in the area as well. That could be dirty energies, like germs, or so to say. Or we could be picking up on entities like lost souls or just other things. We could sense energies. Outside, it's going to be different, because indoors, tends to be a reflection of the people who are living there. And, energy from the outside can come in. You open the window, people are coming into the home. People who go outside, who have that outside energy, whatever is going on, come into the home, bring that energy into the home. Like energy from outside can come into the home. But when you're outside, it's a whole different experience. It's just a mixture of whatever's going on, and just, you don't even know what's going on. Same thing as you would think on a hygienic perspective. Like you go outside, there's always a potential to get sick. You don't know what's out there. But energetically, somehow, I wouldn't even say this. I was going to say like maybe we're immune, but I don't even want to go there, because that's a whole different way of looking at things. That's a different lesson. You got to get into like cleansing and things like that. But all I'm saying is that anything could be out there. You know what I'm saying? Anything energetically can be out there. But we could be bringing things in our home as well without even knowing. Something to be aware of. And there's like nature energies. Like when you connect to nature, you go into the forest, go by the water, just go by like animals. Like just really being around nature, like you can feel it. There's a feeling to it. And in that nature energy, it's a different experience for every people. It's a different experience for every person, but it's something that you can really feel and be in connection to, and just really like vibe with. And I don't know, it's different. It's an experience that's gonna be different for everybody. Like nature energy is good. It depends on what you're doing. Going like maybe certain. From my experience, I'll say this. Different places kind of give me different feelings. Different types of forests will feel different from others. Different areas of being around water will feel different from others. Different parks will feel different than other parks. I just, something I've noticed, and you probably noticed that too. And it's very interesting. Just keep that in mind. You definitely have an ability of sensing energies. Maybe different animals just give off a different feeling from other animals. It's probably something you're aware of, And also we want to be aware of energy of other people. Like there's people that where, let's say you got family, you got friends. There's just certain people who just have a certain energy they embody. You just feel it. You just it's just recognizable. Like they just give off a certain energy. You can just, this person's like this all the time. And it also plays a role in their behavior and such. But when you're talking to them, there's a very particular feeling that you get from that person that you can recognize. Like I'm talking to you right now. I have a certain vibe, I have a certain energy, I have a certain way that I'm communicating. There's a certain way that you feel for me from the video. That's something that you can pick up on. But you got to take that awareness, you can apply that to every other person that that's close to you. There's just a different vibe from every person that It's a different energy. Everyone has their own energy embodiment, and that's something to really start building in your awareness. Is just being aware of all these different type of energies that you feel from different people. And then you're going to notice that based off what you feel, Pay attention to the way they are, their demeanor, the way they act, the way they behave, what they do for a living, what are they focused on. You're going to recognize that level of energy with that type of like embodiment of what they do. And then you're going to start just noticing patterns along the way, you know? Like I'm a very chill like person, very just kind of focused, get things done. It's like I could be motivating, and it just depends. Like you might notice similar things, like maybe with me talking to you, you might notice similar things in other people, but not the same, but similar things. And this is obviously very general characteristic stuff as well, but focusing more on like the energy, the feeling, the vibe. That person doesn't even have to say anything. It's just the moment you meet that person, you just kind of feel it, instinctual, like that intuition's telling you like, oh, okay, that's that person's energy. Interesting. Something to just build your awareness about. This is good. Now, sensing your own energy is a whole different thing. Typically, people don't recollect sensing their own energy, or they like people. This is a tricky one, because the issue is that I've talked to a lot of spiritual people, and I've helped a lot of people, and people always tell me, oh, it's hard for me to focus on my own energy. And it's funny because I don't think that it's hard. I think that when you're focused on sensing other people's energy all the time, your mind develops that kind of approach a very particular way, that it's always something outside of you. And the moment you look at yourself, you don't know how to look at yourself from outside of you. It's like a weird experience. But at the same time, most people naturally know what they feel like, but they don't come from a place of the awareness of the way they naturally do it. You know how like you have habits that you don't notice? It's something like that in that perspective, you know? You might be a person that like you tap your hand a lot, but you never notice it until someone tells you, like, oh, sorry, I was just zoned out. I was just doing this. Like just certain things that just are natural that you do, and in your embodiment, like in your soul and life, like your mind, like you know how to do something, but consciously it's not in your awareness automatically. It's like in your subconscious or unconscious, like doing your thing. But you do know, you just have to kind of shift your awareness in the direction of like, oh, okay, this is how my energy feels. A lot of it's like, you know, feeling, but it's not so much feeling of emotions. You don't have to feel any emotion, but then you could sense your energy and just focus on just kind of connecting to yourself, doing some sort of meditation in a direction of just kind of intuitively connecting to your body. But I say if you're going to do something like that, I've noticed some people have a hard time just doing it. So I say focus on different things. You know, tell yourself, well, is my energy dirty? And just connect to yourself in that perspective. Like, is it dirty? Is my energy clean? Is my energy emotional? Is my energy disrupted? Is it balanced? Is it calm? You know, ask yourself certain questions and like try to see like if you resonate with those things. Yeah, that's just somewhere to start to help you get in a direction of just seeking alignment. That's one thing that I think that's really important, and just keeping your energy aligned in a way where it's kind of being calm and in control, so you can just focus better on whatever you got to focus on. Now, outside of focusing on sensing your own energy, there's, like I said before, sensing other people's energies, but in a way of like, sometimes we can also pick up on sensing other people's emotions and like intentions. It's like very intertwined. So typically when we pick up on other people's emotions, their emotions are typically aligned with what their intentions are currently. You know, if their emotions, if they're sad, obviously thinking about sad thoughts. And typically you're probably intuitive enough to pick up on those things. You might be sitting there talking to whomever it is that you're talking to, and you might just get a feeling, and you might just get like this understanding in your mind, like, I think they're thinking about this. And you might say something, and they might say the same exact thing that you're saying. And you're like, yo, I was just thinking that. But like, you could be picking up on their mind and what they're thinking about telepathically from them energetically. And typically, energetically, we can be creating the energies in our head emotionally, where it's like in alignment within our body emotionally, but also in our head, we could be thinking about something really strong, really intentful, mixed with those emotions, and it makes those intentions and the energy in the head, like, it just kind of gives it off, you know? And you could just be intuitively picking up on that directly, and you'll be aware of like, okay, this person is thinking about things like this. And then like they'll say it or you'll say it and it'll be like confirmed to each other because telepathically the energy's like coming off. Like when you have really, really strong intentions, you're typically emitting that energy off, and you could pick up on it on others. And this like can help you with like communication, just awareness, just building that skill of being aware that you can do that. That is a thing. Now, overall, you want to discern if like these energies are like that you're around, if they're good for you or not. You know, I'm talking about just my tip is this: be in discernment of if the energies you're around are clean. Like if you're in your room, the energies of the room, like is the energy clean? Is it dirty? Is it negative or dark? Is it like something demonic going on that's like trying to like harm you in your life, spiritual warfare? Just be aware of these kind of things, because you sensing energy can help you build better awareness, and that awareness can help you, depending on how you use it, can help you build better practices to keep you safe and help you move forward on your journey. So my big thing is like, listen, for people who are like light workers, for people who are serious about developing themselves spiritually, definitely want to build a healthier practice and just picking up on energies, even like energies on objects, energies in your surrounding, energy on different people. Stick to clean energies and just recognize when there are bad energies around you, and just build that awareness of recognizing how it feels within yourself, because you'll have your cues get all activated that they'll tell you this energy is this energy is that. And you want to be aware of your own energy as well in your body, because you want to be clean. You want to be safe from these things, keep them away or handle them however you do. It's just something to be aware of, to work on. And you can also sense like if there's dirty energies on other people, or not even just emotional energy, but some people just have bad energy, gross energy, dirty energy from whatever's on them. You just might get a strong feeling that some people you come across, it's like, oh, what is that? What is that feeling? This is gross. Because you're probably embodying a really bad energy, or an energy, something got onto them, and you might just pick up on that, and you want to be careful with that, because like energy could get on you. You know, you want to stay away from stuff like that, especially if it's going to like affect you, you know, and then you want to go home and the energy follows you home and it just gets in your space, it gets in you, and it could get you sick. It can cause different issues. It can cause spiritual problems. It could create a spiritual attack. All sorts of things can happen. Just energy alone. So being aware of it helps you just kind of like build that. And we can also sense if energies are at a distance or not, you know, are there bad energies around you? Like, are you walking into a location where all the energy is dirty and now it's all touching you? And it's like, whoa. Or are you at home and sensing an energy or an energy entity of some sort at a distance? You know, maybe you're in your room, but you sense something down the hallway, like standing, but you don't see no one there, but you sense something. You're picking up on sensing energies at a more developed level, and you could also be sensing something standing next to you and not see it. Just definitely build that awareness. That's just kind of what this is about. Building your awareness of sensing energy in all these areas around you, in the room, in the home, your energy around people, outside, nature energy, good energy, clean energy, bad energy, negative, like really like evil energy, demonic, things at a distance, things close to you, emotions, intentions of other people, all sorts of things. But be aware of like the little cues and such if you within yourself as you're sensing things. That's just something that's really important to help you on your direction, to help you build that awareness, helps build that skill. And it's going to help you kind of just be more mindful in your spiritual experience. That's huge. Your awareness is really important. You know, the more you build that, the more you'll build that skill, and the more better and accurate your sensing will be. And you keep focusing on it, it'll just grow over time. Consistently, the more you keep focusing on it. And it's good stuff. It's really, really helpful. Now, if you have some more questions about sensing energies and things like that, you want to know more stuff, you can shoot me an email. I have my email in my description. If you want to do some training and you're probably somebody who has these sensing abilities and you want to take things to the next level, or you're someone who's probably dealing with spiritual warfare and you just kind of want to be more accurate in what you're sensing and you want help with that, listen, you can reach out to me as well via email We can go from there. I also have some services and a link in the description. If that's something that interests you, definitely check it out and reach out to me. Listen, I really hope you learned something from this. You know, sensing ability is just like, it's a common thing. We all have it to some degree, but the growth is really in the level of awareness. The more like specific you can start developing your awareness of it, like the more it gets better, because it gets tweaked and more accurate over time. So just be aware of that. And hey, I hope all this information is helpful, and you keep working on this. Like, get it done. Like, start working, training, keep moving forward, develop this. I want you to just develop on your journey and whatever you got going on. Let's get it.